What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on Torque Spec Garage. Got another how-to video for you today. We're going to keep this series going. Today we're going to be doing an oil change on a 2011 Toyota Camry. This will be the same procedure for the years 2007 to 2011. So let's get right into it. Alright, so what you're going to need to do an oil change on this Camry is you're going to need a drain pan. You're going to need a filter. I'm using the Napa Gold, part number 7047. You're going to need a ratchet, a 14mm socket for the drain plug, the specialty socket for the oil filter housings on these cars, a 3-inch extension, and I always have a big breaker bar just in case. And you're going to need 4.6 quarts of a fully synthetic 0W20 oil. Alright guys, so first things first, you want to let the car warm up for just a second, get the oil warm. It just helps all of it get out of the engine. So you want to crack your cap loose. It just helps the oil flow out better. Just leave it cracked. So that's step one. Alright guys, once you get underneath the car, here's your oil pan. It is right behind the little splash guard. So you got a 14mm drain plug. So you go ahead and crack that loose. And once you break it loose, just take the drain plug out. Make sure your drain pan is lined up underneath so you don't spill it everywhere. And just start letting it all drain out. Alright guys, once all the oil's finishing draining out of the pan, next you're going to come to the front of the pan, and this is your oil filter housing. So next, you're going to grab your special socket that I showed earlier, this one, and you're going to break that loose. Now, the new filter should come with a little plastic piece you thread into here. You just pop this out with a 3/8 ratchet, and you can thread it in there and drain all the oil that's in the filter housing out. I don't do that. I just take the whole thing off and don't worry about draining it out because it's going to come off anyway. So I'll come back once I get this broke loose. Alright, we got the filter housing broken loose, but before I pull that off, I'm going to go ahead and put my drain plug back in. You can see most of the oil is already drained out. So just thread your drain plug back in here. And just snug it with your hand for now. And then make sure you move your drain pan over to under where the filter is going to come off, because that prevents a big old mess. And then, like I said, I already broke it loose, so you just turn it counterclockwise. Let the first little bit of oil drip out. And again, that's why you can pop that little piece out that I showed you and drain the oil out of the housing if you don't want to get oil on your hand like I did. But like I said, I don't. It doesn't really bother me. You always want to make sure you inspect the oil coming out of the filter. Shake the other filter out. Oop, I dropped it. Alright, so always make sure you check where your filter housing screws in. Just make sure nothing's cracked, or make sure the old gasket's not stuck up there still. Everything looks good. Just take a rag and clean up in here really good. If there's any old gunk or anything in there, just clean it really good. But everything looks good. I'll show you guys the old filter in a second. Alright, so here's the filter housing. Everything looks good. Here's the old filter. Again, doesn't look bad, looks normal. No red flags. So, good deal. We'll clean this out really good. Get the new filter put in. And then we'll be going back in the car with it. And with your new filter, there's going to be 2 O-rings, one big one and one smaller one. You want to make sure you change these out. The bigger one goes around the threads on the housing itself, and then the smaller one goes under this cap. So you want to make sure you change those out. Prevents leaks and all that good stuff. And this is that little piece I was telling you about that comes with the new filter. So if you just take this cap out with a 3/8 ratchet, you just push this up in there and it'll drain out the oil that's currently in the housing, so you don't have to worry about it spilling whenever you take that out. Alright, we got our new seal swapped out. Here's our new filter. It's never a bad idea just to make sure they gave you the same one. You know, sometimes you'll go to the auto parts store and they'll give you the wrong part, and then sometimes that's not a very good time. So just line it up, slide it down in, make sure it's flat, and now it's ready to go back in the car. Alright, so once you got your filter dropped back in, just thread it back in to where the filter housing goes, and you can just get it up in there hand tight. Just go clockwise till you can't, and then let me go see what the torque spec is on this, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, like I said, the oil jug does have a measuring thing on the back. This is a 5-quart jug, and this car calls for 4.6. So you can see there's just that much left in the jug. So now we can go ahead and start the car up, let it cycle for a minute, and then we'll check the dipstick and see if we need to add a little bit more. Alright, so once you get oil back in it, hop back in the car. Go ahead and start it up. And you'll probably want to let it run for like 15-20 seconds. Just let the oil circulate through really good, and then we'll go check the dipstick. Alright guys, once you have the car running, it's never a bad idea to just hop down here real quick and just make sure nothing's leaking, everything's looking good. But always want to just double check that, because you never know. Alright guys, and that wraps up the oil change. Everything is good. So, one last thing, if you don't know what to do with your old oil in your drain pan, if you don't want to just take your drain pan, if you don't have one that seals like this, you just have an open one, you can always just drain it back into the jug you just dumped the new oil out of. And then most auto parts stores have a big recycle bin that you can just go and dump the old oil in. So, just another little tip. And that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you again so much for stopping by. If this video helped you, don't forget to leave a like, a comment. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I do all kinds of car content, how-to videos, all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys again for the continued support of the channel. All you that tune into the live streams, videos, everything, I really appreciate it, and I can't express that enough. So thanks again from Torque Spec Garage, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you guys.